One of the world's best-selling Lexus models is one you might never have heard of, the ES. We've never previously seen this model in our market, and it's a car that might get forgotten in a sector dominated by contenders like the BMW 5 Series, the Mercedes E-Class or the Audi A6. Yet it doesn't deserve to be. It offers non-plug-in, petrol-electric hybrid power for less than you pay for a smoky diesel version of a Teutonic competitor, and much more equipment too. If you want to spoil yourself in this segment and luxury and low running costs take precedence over drive dynamics, the ES could be an appealing package.
So, what's the ES experience like? Well, very quiet is the answer at the wheel of the ES 300h petrol-electric hybrid version, which is the only one on offer in our market. Silence when first you begin and push the starter button. Silence when you ease through slow-moving rush hour traffic, the engine cutting in only above 25 miles an hour, unless you have a particularly heavy right foot. Like most hybrids, the car can trickle along powered by the battery pack only, as it does from start off, or more usually with a combination of both battery and engine. And that's something that you can monitor via a graphic display in the centre of the dash. Provided EV button allows you a mandatory all-electric setting, but it won't last for long because this is a self-charging system, not a plug-in setup. Hence, it's more affordable pricing. Of course, with a petrol-electric hybrid, you don't get the kind of pulling power that would be on offer from a rival four-cylinder diesel model. This ES hybrid's new generation 2.5-litre power plant has considerably less torque than one of those, although its 215 bhp combined system output initially looks quite promising. As usual with a Lexus Synergy Drive powertrain, you have to have it mated to a belt-driven CVT auto gearbox, which, when you need rapid power, tends to encourage engine flare, but not a great deal of noticeable extra forward motion. Talking of that, 62 miles an hour from rest, if you're really pushing on, can be dealt with in 8.9 seconds en route to 112 miles an hour. And there's a drive mode select system with eco and sport settings, depending on how you want to drive. The front-driven layout doesn't have the bite of rear-driven German competitors that speed through the turns, even if you opt for the more dynamic F-Sport trim model, which features adaptive variable suspension. Few likely Lexus buyers, though, care very much about a dynamic drive. More relevant are running costs. The WLTP-rated combined cycle fuel consumption isn't quite up to diesel standards, but the CO2 figure, NEDC rated at as little as 100 grams per kilometre, is much better, making possible a benefit-in-kind taxation rating, which can be as low as 24%. The looks of this car will be a major determining factor in making people want to try it. Quite a bit has been borrowed from the Lexus brand's top boardroom-level luxury saloon, the LS, and that's a good thing in our book. It gives this ES a car park presence that German rivals struggle to emulate. And nearly 5 metres in length, it's actually one of the lengthiest contenders in the full-size part of the executive class. 36 mils longer than an Audi A6, for example. This, along with the rearward sloping fast roof line and the lower bonnet line enabled by the new GAK platform, combine to deliver a sense of gravitas and street-side status that this model line never previously had, with a silhouette styled around what chief designer Yasuo Kajino calls a theme of provocative elegance. Behind the wheel, you find yourself in a cabin apparently inspired by omotenashi, the Japanese art of hospitality, and you'll probably find it to be refreshingly different if your middle management motoring life so far has had a Teutonic theme. The sweeping stylized lines, the unique choice of trimming and texture, and the sumptuously supportive seats all impress. Less welcome is Lexus's insistence on forcing you to operate the 8 or 12.3-inch central infotainment screen with this central lower touchpad, which is difficult to use on a bumpy road. The instrument display you view through this lovely 3-spoke wheel isn't fully digital, but the central dial is. The binnacle's top stitched cowl is lovely. The horn style controls sticking out of either side of it aren't. Classy, distinctly Lexus touches include the infrared climate Concierge system, which orchestrates the ideal climate for each person in the car, and the optional 17-speaker concert hall style Mark Levinson surround sound audio system. Time to try the rear. Now, earlier we mentioned that this ES is one of the longest cars in the segment, but somehow Lexus has managed to translate that into a design with the shortest wheelbase in the class. That, along with the fact that this car also has the lowest roof height in the sector, doesn't bode well for back seat space. Once inside though, legroom isn't too bad. Lexus says that there's actually only a millimetre less than you'll get in the boardroom level LS saloon that competes in the next class above, although that car is poor in that regard. That slightly restricted ceiling height necessitated by the sloping roof might be an issue for taller passengers, but cabin width is average by class standards. There's actually more of it here than you get in a Mercedes E-Class, and accommodation of a third person, if needed, is helped by this reasonably low centre transmission tunnel. Finally, let's take a look at luggage space, an area that in the past with hybrid Lexus saloons has tended to be compromised in size. You get a 454 litre capacity, which, although it is probably quite sufficient for most likely owners, is quite a bit down on what you get from obvious segment diesel rivals. Still, this space is notably wide and decently long, so it's pretty usable. For longer items, a ski hatch is provided, but it is annoying that the folding seat backs you get on other saloons in this class can't be offered here, so trips from IKEA with flat pack furniture are out. You might be relieved to hear that though. The car magazines will tell you that most buyers in the full-sized executive sector expect a highly tuned degree of handling finesse from their saloons, which of course is rubbish. The average business buyer of a car of this kind wants comfort, luxury and the lowest benefit-in-kind taxation position possible as part of an exemplary low running cost proposition, all of which the ES delivers better than any other contender in this segment. One thing's for sure, if you're after the most rational choice in the class, then you're looking at it right here.